Hey, Shafe. Gonna be two parts to this. And bear with me here because some of this stuff I'm kind of sorting out as I'm saying this in like a stream of conscious sort of way. How we do things, how we talk in our circle here. But there'll be two parts to this. Where I find peace. First, these days, for me, there doesn't seem to be much permanence to it. Similar to what you were talking about with your meditation sessions, say for 20 minutes, for lack of a better term, and if I understand what you're talking about, you reach some sort of Zen, if I imagine correctly. It's a situation to where, for that moment, you're mindfully laying down your burdens, whatever troubles that you can define, maybe troubles that you're not able to define. But after the 20 minutes, you said it's that only momentary portion of respite. To me, if I understand the metaphor correctly, and if I could be allowed the leeway, is that like for that moment of meditation, you're laying down your burdens. However, after 20 minutes of this, when you come back from that, you're picking your burdens right back up. It reminds me of something that hopefully I'll remember to get to in the second part of this. I believe I understand what you're talking about with this. There's some elements that I learned through, it was DBT, the didactic behavioral therapy. There's this element of mindfulness where you look at an object and instead of, say you're looking at a stapler at work, and instead of thinking about imagining that stapler stapling something or joining paper together or actually taking into action, you pull back from that and you merely look at the object for exactly what it is and you're mindful of it. That for me seems to last pretty long when I'm struggling a lot. Another moment for me, a moment of respite, a moment of peace. I had my nephews. They were at the house. My daughter, all my immediate family. Me, my wife, my nephews, and my daughter. It was about quarter after 5, and I'm an early riser. I wake up typically 45 minutes before my alarm goes off. My younger nephew, either fortunately or unfortunately, has that same terrible habit. So we're both awake. It's shortly after 5 a.m. And you've lived in Florida, so you know how storms can be. It was just utter chaos outside. Just raining so hard. I mean, you could hear it outside. And I was reflecting in that moment. Here me and this young man are just sitting across the table, both having a cup of coffee, and just near hell is being unleashed outside. And I'm mindful in that moment of what is being provided, what provision has sheltered us from the storm. It was a great feeling of satisfaction. And through that, I had peace. This circle, this sphere of influence, truly understanding my sphere of influence and understanding my effect upon it. That old Whitey Bulger quote, I think it was, You know, a lot of people think that that whole statement about are you a product of your environment? You know, I'd like to think that my environment is a product of me, that understanding of a sphere of influence. Owning the 3 feet around me, everything that's in arm's reach. Okay, I got that. Okay, 6 feet, second arm's reach. Maybe I got that, maybe I don't. The further out we go, the further we delude ourselves into what our responsibilities are to have an effect on it. Am I making sense? For me, the piece is to understand clearly my sphere of influence. There are moments when I lose sight of it and I lose peace. You were talking about our doom scroll feeds, whether you got involved with TikTok, back before that, the Vines, which the algorithm on Vines was a little more kind than TikTok is. Facebook has Reels, Instagram has its feed, and then YouTube has its Shorts, which, well, hell, you and I are part of the YouTube Shorts. Even we're feeding the algorithm in that way. But as we partake in that doom scrolling, I think about what it is with me that I'm feeding, and I end up being cautious of it. And I'm probably terming these chemicals in the wrong way. Please give me some latitude on this, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I'd love to hear a response, and work together on this, because this whole pursuit of peace is something that we never, in my experience so far, have had a chance to arrive in. I can share with you moments that I had it, and times when, and what led to those moments, and maybe from that we can unpack it and figure this out. When we doom scroll, similar to doom scrolling, watching porn, listening to maybe good music, to me, those elements, when something is just given to you, I take that as the dopamine. Delicious piece of your favorite candy, boom, dopamine hit. Biting into some fried chicken, dopamine hit. Very short term, very addictive, meaning that when you don't have it, your body begins to yearn for it again and starts to seek it out, but who knows what it is that's going to have those chemicals released again. The algorithm, if you understand where I'm coming from with this, the algorithm, it's trying to give you more of this thing that it thinks you're seeking. It knows about dopamine. The other chemical, serotonin, and please forgive me if I'm misusing these terms. The thing that's released when you've had a good workout, when you walk around the block, when you walk your dog, when you've gotten the yard cleaned up the house, planted and prepped the garden. Longer term, longer lasting. In all respects, both things are healthy. But to me, it's more like serotonin is sustenance, and dopamine is a very short-term type thing. And you need both, right? You need those short-term hits, but you need that long-term response. Serotonin is something that, to me, you have an element of effect upon. Like, you can go and get that. Dopamine, you can try it, you can see it, the algorithm can present you with some. But as you scroll, you can deplete that dopamine. I mean, it's something you have inside of you already. We're talking about the release of it. We're talking about the reception of it. And for some people, people that are, and forgive me for using this term, people that are neurodivergent, our receptors tend to be burned out. They tend to malfunction. Sometimes they work more, sometimes they work less. So there's caution that has to be approached with that too, depending on how you are. In my experience, there's resets that you can do once, for me, I know where my dopamine hits come from. Candy, video gaming, when I slip into pornography, too much. And those things can be reset. Perhaps in your transcendental meditation, you're having this moment where you're maybe mechanically, these chemicals are balancing back out. I believe sleep's an important aspect of that too, because I always imagine sleep as being a portion when your brain has the opportunity to rebalance those things. Now, again, so long as our receptors aren't burned out, was it like the D1, D2, D3? There's histamine receptors, all kinds of different things. If those things are cooked, sleep may not help us, right? But I do my best to get my feet planted on foundation. I refocus on where my sphere of influence is. There's a liar whispering in my ear, though, about how I have no sphere of influence. I have no control. And if I'm forced to look at something that I don't have any control over, I can obviously give you plenty of examples that we have shoved down our throats, and even examples that we have discussed as a circle of friends. And maybe you see where the issue lies within all of this. Plug it into context of all that bull crap that I listed earlier. On to the second part. The second part is family. You and I are family. We're professing Christians. You're my brother, and likewise, I hope that you consider me such on the other hand. Where I was at my absolute best, I feel, was when I was solid in the Word. I had a daily walk, and that's a daily walk with Jesus. And instead of playing farming simulator like I'm doing now, I would catch my daily proverb, which I would follow the book of Proverbs every month. Proverb numbers coinciding with the days of the month, as in Proverbs 1 on the first day, so on and so forth. There's 31 of them. The whole thing, maybe just the first passage, and then wherever the scripture might lead me from there. There's some good things out there, and we're very blessed to have resources of, if you're feeling a certain way, there's some help that can give you scriptures for knowing peace. Psalm 23 is a good one, and that's the first thing that came to my mind as a brother when you were making your video about the Lord being our shepherd. He leads us to green pastures. He has us lay beside still waters. His rod and his staff comfort me. The staff that guides us, the rod that keeps the enemies of our flock at bay, or even admonishes us when we do wrong. Walking through the valley of the shadow of death. Oh, fear no evil, because you're with me. And for me and my past experience and my own delusion, when I mistakenly am relying on my own strength, which is a temptation, I don't fear any evil in that valley because I'm the baddest motherfucker in the valley. Maybe so. That's why I'm not scared of the dark. Maybe, or I'm deluding myself not to be scared of the dark, but I'm not. I'm not the baddest motherfucker in the valley. He is. Because he's already won the victory. And anything that tells us otherwise is the enemy that's come to steal and destroy. And he's looking to steal our peace, to steal our hope. And that's when it's at its best. Now I can delude myself, and when I'm in the Word, I can be a little too spiritual, and I go maybe too far in that, to where I'm surrounded by other people that family and people that I love and care about the most. You have to reflect on how he leaves the 99 to go after the one. What helps bring that person back? Well, Scripture, to me, by and large, it can have many meanings and can be used in many different ways. But it's also about us. We could be the one that he's reaching out to. It's also mostly reflective of his nature. That's what it's all about. Hopefully this helps. It's my best answer to the question that you had in your video, and keep me posted. You got my number. So beyond all this, man, I got a customer of mine. He's a pretty cool dude. He's very, very zen. I don't know. I honestly don't know if he's Christian or not, but he has this mantra of, "Hey, man, we're all in this together," and I want to say that to you now too. Man, we're all in this together, and from what you say in your video, I feel like you and I really, truly want the same thing, and that's to abide in peace. All right, man. That's what rolls around in my mind. All right, man. I am thankful for you. I'm thankful for YouTube, for being able to have the facility to have me meet you, and that we could be friends and actually now brothers. I'm truly, truly grateful of that, and I feel that is good. All right, man. Talk to you some more.